American man. No one pay attention to what's in my head. I got a voice inside that needs to be fed. It's causing chaos everywhere I land. I got a fever. I got a fever.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Ohio Sports Talk. I am your host, Doug, and that's the coach, Jordan Maxson. Jordan, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Doing well. A lot to be happy about. A lot to be happy about personally, but we got some things that we'll tackle along the way. But things are doing well on my end. Kids are doing all right. Life's good. How's life in your neck of the woods?
Not doing too bad. Just had a nice weekend with the kids. Football, kids, riding bikes, doing different stuff. It's starting to cool down a little bit, Jordan. It's still pretty damn hot out, but it's going well. Let's give a quick recap, Jordan. Friday night, Alter, big win. Give us a little bit of background on what took place in Friday night's game.
Friday night's game was a really gritty defensive battle. Hats off to all the young men there. They absolutely did what they needed to do. They got the turnovers. They just stepped up, made the big plays, and got the big field goal with about 1:09 left in the game for the 10-7 victory. Big shout out to Coach Fresh there. Really a masterful game. Just really tested the boys. It was a really gritty game. So was happy to see that. Our youth program won today, 38-0. So we had a good Monday, riding the weekend momentum. So I'm been extremely happy. The program's clicking on all cylinders right now. So
hell yeah. Well, that's great. Great win over Trotwood for you guys. That's really awesome. Trotwood's always, a very talented team. Jordan, this past weekend though, Bengals and Browns back in action. It was, we'll touch on the Reds. We'll touch on FC Cincinnati. We'll touch on a couple things here at the end, but we're here for football. We, as a state, Jordan, we are 1-3 right now. You guys have taken a couple on the chin. We bounced back a little bit against Jacksonville. Let's dive into each game. Jordan, which game do you want to talk about first?
Let's dive into the Cleveland game, Doug. Let's save the big festivities for last year.
Okay, let's talk Cleveland Browns, Jordan. Cleveland, we just coming back off the big loss to the Dallas Cowboys. We come in at Jacksonville. A game that I was a little bit nervous about, Jordan, and then Evan Ingram got hurt before the game started, and that made me feel a little bit better. Overall, I thought Cleveland played an okay game. Before we really get into it, what were your thoughts from your perspective on the game?
Douglas, I think Cleveland kind of got some of their swagger back, especially defensively. So I do think we saw a good performance from the defensive line, in my opinion. We saw that secondary kind of come into their own early in the first half there. Well, I know things kind of deteriorated as the game went along, but Doug, you're in the NFL. It's pros. Jacksonville did make some adjustments to kind of go against you guys. So it wasn't solely based on the play, but I saw that defense kind of get their swagger back. The heart and soul of the team is that defensive line. You have the defensive player of the year, right there. So to see Miles and the boys kind of get after it early, we saw Denzel Ward kind of shake off that rust. He looks really good, post concussion. Week 1, it was kind of questionable. Yeah. He wasn't afraid of the moment. Some of the linebacking core looked a little bit better. So defensively, Douglas, I was really happy to see it. Offensive line, it looked a little bit cleaner. I know there's things that you guys, you're playing with two tackles still in a rotational.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I know that's one on the chin, but the run game looked better. Ford looked a little bit better as the game kept going on. But I was happy to see it. Deshaun, they weren't impressive stats, Douglas, but he did what he needed to do. It was cleaner. The quarterback percentage was better. The throws were better. He was holding on to it for too long. It was good to see him kind of throw the balls that he did throw away. So, instead of committing the turnover or trying to force something that wasn't there. So it looked better, Doug. I was impressed. They went down. They got the win. The weather kind of played a role late in that game, so you have to kind of consider a little bit there. The rain was heavy there in Jacksonville, so you as a Browns fan, as an analyst, what did you see? Because this is your team. You have your thumb on their pulse. Did it look better, or did it look the same old?
I do believe that, like you said, it looked better. But here's my thing with that, Jordan, is it would have been really hard to be worse than last week. Do you know what I mean? So while I do think the team played better, I thought it was going to be really hard to be bad again this week at the same level they were against the Cowboys. Against the Cowboys, it was just such a dysfunctional mess that it just looked like the season was over, to be honest, the way they played that first game. But here's what I'll say. Watson did play better, 22 of 34, 186. What I was happiest about for him, and we'll touch on this when we get to our 3 positives and our 3 negatives for the Browns, like we're going to be doing every week to help us break down the games. When we get to that, I'll talk a little bit more about Watson. He was a positive for me, but I thought Jerome Ford did a good job. And I liked the mix and match of Jerome Ford and Donta Foreman. I thought Foreman looked good with his 14 carries. He only averaged 3 yards to carry, but I think what he was doing in the run was setting up Jerome Ford to maybe gash some of those bigger runs that he had. So I really liked the way that tandem worked together. Things that I didn't like, we'll touch on obviously my dislikes here. I thought the offense in the second half was really bad, really inconsistent. There was a drive or two there where Watson kind of turned back the clock a little bit, where he was escaping pockets, and he found Jerry Jeudy out on the right side for a nice completion. And then he had a nice deep ball to Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, I believe, is really going to have a good season as we go along, Jordan. Let's definitely talk about him. You fellas think the slow start from both teams are cause and effects of less preseason snaps. Jordan, we talked about this. We think that I for sure think Deshaun Watson needs to be playing in the preseason. I thought he should have been playing, getting snaps. I'm not saying, more than a drive, but if he could have got a drive in each game, I don't think Dallas game looks as bad as it did. Joe Burrow, on the other hand, Jordan, because this is a two-sided question, obviously. Joe Burrow, on the other hand, got that drive, but he still came out slow.
The one drive wasn't enough, and
right.
Especially, the minute we knew that our right tackle situation, especially with the pectoral injury, was going to switch. That Indianapolis game, and I know even Trent Brown wasn't healthy then. We should have got some guys out there for some offensive line, communication and work, and that's not playing in that last preseason game definitely contributed to the Patriots' slow start. So I fully agree that the preseason, it's called, preseason. You got to do in the preseason, and that's something that the Zach Taylor era, struggles mightily on. And every time we come out, we're like, oh, it's a slow start. But yeah, to sum up the question, definitely think that offensively, the reason for the slow start was because of the lack of preseason snaps for the offensive line.
I'm with you there. I think it goes both ways. Jordan, let's get into my 3 positives and my 3 negatives for the Browns this week. Obviously, Deshaun Watson was a positive for me. He didn't turn over the ball. He didn't make the bad mistakes. He played clean football, 22 of 34, like I said, for 186. It was okay. He only took 2 sacks, which I thought was much better. The offensive line held up a little bit better also, which was a very, very much so a positive. Jordan, and we also got to see his scrambling ability, his escape ability, some of the stuff that made him so great in Houston. He started to show that in little pockets of the game on Sunday. And to me, that is very helpful because, when you have a makeshift line, these things are going to happen. You're going to have issues. And until we get back to our full strength, Conklin working his way back, Will's working his way back, DeJuan Jones was in and out with cramping on Sunday. Until you have your full unit back, it's going to be very difficult to stop some of these really talented passing rush attacks. So I thought his mobility was nice. I thought he made some good plays with his legs. His connection with Jerry Jeudy has me very excited. Jerry Jeudy was our leading receiver that game. I think he ended up with 73 yards on 5 catches. So I think Jerry Jeudy's definitely working his way into being a reliable receiver who's going to have a big season. My second key, Jordan, or positive, the defense stepped up in the second half when they really needed it, when it was really time to put the chips on the table. That last drive, they had to stop Trevor Lawrence and the guys. They did it. We got the safety to extend the lead after an amazing punt. Our special teams, our punter, and our kicker were the MVPs of that game last night. The punt by Bojorquez to get them down on their one that led to the safety, incredible punt. And then Dustin Hopkins, 3 of 3, hit a 53-yarder. It was the special teams. It was an all-around effort. The offense did a little bit. The defense stepped up when we needed to. Special teams put us over the top to get that win. Any of those things you want to harp on right there before I move over to our negatives?
No, I think you hit it up perfectly. I think definitely, I said at the beginning of the segment that, the Browns' strength is that defensive line, and their defense is a whole unit. So I feel like they kind of got their swagger back and got a lot of things in step there, especially with Denzel Ward in the secondary. So really happy to see those guys step up and play to their potential that we know they are. So I think that's just the ceiling's just now starting, and they're going to kind of come into their own, Doug, and they're going to be that Browns AFC North defense that we're used to seeing moving forward.
Oh, man, I hope you're right. That is for sure. So then, Jordan, let's move over to our negatives. I mean, the negatives, the second half offense, Jordan, was not good. There was a very apparent lack of offense in the second half. We scored 5 points, 2 of those points coming on a safety. We didn't move the ball well. It was not good enough in the second half, and I think that was apparent. I think the Jaguars were able to adjust, and the Browns just never adjusted back to get going again. And I feel like that was an issue Sunday where the Jags worked their way back into the game. O-line depth, we knew coming into the season, Jordan, that Conklin and Wills had a chance to not play. We never addressed left tackle, right tackle. DeJuan Jones, he had a rough first week. I think he did a little bit better than we thought. If you look at some of his passing blocks against Micah Parsons, it was okay. We never addressed left to right tackle depth-wise, and that was an issue for us week 1. It wasn't as bad week 2, still an issue. It's going to be an issue. We'll see if Conklin and Wills are back this week. They're supposedly working their way back. They are practicing.
You're forgetting you did sign Akeem Adeniji, and he did go out.
And he got hurt too. That's true.
In the preseason as well, because that's a guy that had the ability to play both guard and tackle, which he proved with both the Bengals and the Vikings. So that that was kind of another low blow there.
We lose him, Jordan, but we don't address it. So that's kind of a double-edged sword there, in my opinion. You lose the guy who you thought was going to be your depth piece, but you don't go out and sign somebody else to pick up that slack. That's an issue, is it not?
It is, but it's hard for an organization to when you lose the depth to the depth before the starter. I mean, it's fair. Just it just kind of trickled down. I've never seen 2 years, and I'm not knocking on a ball club, but 2 years that's been a rough spot for the Cleveland Browns. They they seem to be doing all the right things. They have all the right guys on the roster. They just needed to get it healthy on the offensive line.
Yep. And then my final negative, Jordan, it's Amari Cooper right now. Amari Cooper dropped a touchdown week 1. He dropped at least a pass, maybe 2 in the Jaguars game. 1 pass for sure for an easy first down to keep a drive alive. So far he had 3 catches for 11 yards, 8 targets. He's not helping Deshaun Watson right now. He has 5 catches on the year for only 27 yards. It's really bad right now. While Deshaun Watson, I will say, has not been the most accurate quarterback, he does have the most drop passes in the league through 2 games. So we've got to do a better job receiver-wise, besides Jerry Jeudy right now, in my opinion, of picking up our quarterback. We don't have to like the guy. We don't have to believe in what he does off the field, all that bullshit. But when we step on the field, we got to pick this guy up. And the Browns receiving corps has not done that to their fullest extent, in my opinion, so far this year. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think losing David Njoku hurts too. But outside of that, Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore and those guys, we haven't seen them step up to their potential yet. And whether that's the Amari Cooper, I don't know if it's mental, Doug, because all that swirling trade talk to him going to 49ers, and we got the LOL tweet, and
Oh, Jordan's paused here for a second. Let me kick him out. But like Jordan was saying, Amari Cooper did go through a lot of stuff in the offseason. He did have the trade rumors, the contract, but the contract did get signed. And so, in my opinion, that shouldn't be an issue still. But the trade rumors, sure, that can bother you. Deshaun Watson being kind of a piece of shit off the field, that could probably bother you. But once you step on the field, the excuses go away for me. Jordan, the excuses have to go away once you're on the field. We need you catching these balls. We need him catching that touchdown against Dallas, where the game wasn't out of reach at that point. We need him to catch that first down to stop the Jags' momentum. We need these things from our number one receiver, and he's not doing it right now. He had a great season last year. I still expect him to pick it up and really get going like he usually does. But damn, right now, Amari Cooper, not great. And my last thing that I really should have put on here, but I didn't, Jordan. The level of undisciplined play from the Cleveland Browns the first 2 weeks is staggering. It is just abysmal. 13 penalties, Jordan, for 100 yards against the Jaguars. That alone kept the Jaguars in the game. That alone will lose you games against teams that are a little bit better than Jaguars. That shit will get you beat 8 times out of 10. Bad penalties constantly, jumping off sides, illegal shifts, any penalty you can think of, holding on long runs. It was every kind of penalty imaginable, Jordan. We are the most penalized team in the league so far through 2 games.
But the procedure penalties are mind-blowing.
Jordan, the procedure penalty on our kickoff, where we caused a fumble and we got the ball back, our kicker illegally was in the wrong part of the formation. I know the new kickoff is something to get used to. We caused a fumble on the kick return, was in great field position, and we gave the ball right back because we did the procedure wrong. Embarrassing. Kevin Stefanski, I know, is a player's coach. He is one of those guys who rides for his guys, all that stuff. This is too much. This is where it's in a bad place where the team has to be reined back in. Jordan, week 1, the Browns had 11 penalties for 64 yards. That in 2 games, that's 24 penalties, Jordan. That's too much. You cannot win on this level with that many penalties. You cannot do it. Jordan, I've talked about the Browns for long enough. Let's transition to those fucking losers in Cincinnati. Those garbage. No, you know what? I got to be honest with you. I felt for you. That was pretty rough. You guys battled your tails off, and I thought Joe Burrow kind of turned a corner there about halfway into the third quarter, maybe a little earlier than that. I thought he started to get going a little bit. 2 rough weeks in a row, Jordan. Let's talk about it. You guys, we're gonna talk about the penalties. We will talk about the penalties. Because
we're not starting with that.
We will talk about it. So let's. Where do you want to start outside the penalties?
Let's start with the good. We're gonna go with the good, the bad, the ugly. Let's start with the good, Douglas. The defense showed up to play. It didn't look like that early. We're still struggling on run defense. Defensive tackle is going to be a huge question mark come Monday night game coming up next week. We lost Rankins. We lost BJ Hill during the game. So the fact that Lou and the boys still put it together with some paper clips there to keep trading punches, hats off to them.
Yeah, definitely.
Holding Pacheco to what they did with the lack of depth that we had was it was good. The linebacker play, Douglas. Our linebackers were our leading tacklers, both our starters, both Logan Wilson and Jermaine Pratt. Pratt punching the ball out, causing.
I got to tell you, Jordan, those two dudes, when they're on, That is a damn good duo. Pratt had 16 tackles, 7 solo. Logan Wilson had 12 tackles, 7 solo. Jermaine Pratt had the big QB hit. Those two dudes are extremely talented when they're on. Because sometimes you'll get Jermaine Pratt, and it's weird, where he's just not like Jermaine. He's just not good. But then you get games like this, and you're like, this guy is incredible.
He's been like that, and that's why he's been rotational at times. And a big shout out to Keem Davis-Gallers. We signed him that 1-year deal to come back. Major interception.
That interception was nice.
It was nice. He was sitting in the window and just, collapsed it right on the tight end, made the interception. Like I said, Lou and the boys, Lou has Kansas City's number. The best games that he's coached as a defensive coordinator always seems to be against Patrick Mahomes. So this one was no different. Cam Taylor-Britt with a, once in a lifetime.
Oh, man.
You probably won't see another interception like that, Douglas, all year. Just really reminiscent to Odell Beckham back in his prime. In his Giants days. That was just amazing. We'll give a shout out to DJ Turner. He had a sweet interception. I know it was called back because of
that was
illegal hands to the face to Travis Kelce on the opposite side of the field.
That was so soft. That was soft because
that was a call that was soft.
And what I had a problem with was, how are you supposed to guard these elite tight ends if you can't get your hands on them? I know you got to probably let them go when you get to about that 10-yard mark, but there's got to be some leeway on a guy as good as Travis Kelce when you're guarding him man to man. Like I thought that was extremely soft. Patrick Mahomes never even looked his way on that play. He wasn't involved. Like at some of those plays where you're not involved and you get a penalty that keeps a drive alive, some of that needs to be looked at, in my opinion, because you're not affecting the play by what's going on over there. That one I did not like at all, Jordan.
That one we can both agree on that it was questionable, it was soft, but the secondary, they got it back together. We got the interception 2 plays later, so all is fair in love and war in that when it comes to that scenario. But just defensively, Douglas, I was really happy to see it. The secondary, Dax Hill looked great in the coverage that he was asked to do. I know Cam Taylor-Britt had that one, that fight and go.
That guy is elite. He's one of my favorite players on your guys' team.
And you're going to get beat in one-on-one coverages. That's NFL. So I wasn't upset about that deep one that he got burned on. It happens. It was against our best receiver in Rice. So, hats off. We knew those two were going to battle all day long. But just kind of the bend and break mentality for the Bengals defense. Just night and day difference compared to the Patriots game. So I was happy to see those guys show up, actually get off the bus, get going. And offensively, Douglas, I love the scheme that we came out in.
Yeah.
When you don't have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase is still knocking off that rust, from his contract holdout and everything else that was going on before the season. The tight ends, we drafted some tight ends, we signed some tight ends, we re-signed Drew Sample. Douglas, they all came to play. And Gelsecki, had a great game. I think it was 7 receptions.
He's good. Him and Joe Burrow have a nice little connection there.
They have a great connection. The rookie tight end that we drafted from Iowa,
Eric All
had great, really brilliant moments in both the blocking scheme and passing.
Yep. He's
I believe he had 3 catches for like 25 yards. 4 catches. I apologize.
4 for 32, and he had that 19-yarder.
Oh, that 19-yarder was sweet to see.
Yeah.
So it was good to see those guys. Drew Sample got involved, but just the young receiving core. Like I said, with T. Higgins out, it was good to see Jermaine Burton get his name called for that 43-yarder. That one-on-one. He finally got the call. He didn't play week 1 hardly. Doug,
I know, but you can see his talent, and you can see his ability to take the top off the. Here's the thing. I know that there's got to be like a level of discipline. We just talked about with the Browns.
Yeah.
Sometimes that you've got to get your talented guys on the field. I know you don't want to do that. You don't want to be the team who lets guys get away with stuff. But when you're missing somebody as talented as T. Higgins and Jamar Chase can't get going, you've got to throw your most talented guy out there who can take the top off and help these guys out. I mean, I love the fact that Joe Burrow threw to the tight ends. He's 11, 14 catches for your guys' tight ends. And there was probably, it looks like there was 16 targets for the tight ends. That's awesome. That's making it work. But you've got to do even more of that, with guys like T. Higgins out and teams going extremely hard to stop Jamar Chase. They were bracketing him every opportunity they had.
Oh, yeah.
And McDuffie, in his own right, is a damn good corner. And then you throw a bracket on top of that, it's going to be a long game for Jamar Chase. I didn't love the way that went down with him. If that ref actually said that guy's got to be fucking gone. You can't talk to somebody like that. It's the NFL, man. You've got to understand time and place, and that he thought you missed a call. That should have been a conversation. It shouldn't have. The ref shouldn't have said, "Get out of my fucking face," or whatever he said to Jamar Chase. Let's hear what Jamar Chase has to say. And then let's have a conversation. There's enough time in between plays in the NFL, Jordan. That shouldn't be happening.
But I do, and this is where I kind of blame Jamar Chase for that. Doug, because the first time he said something, the ref did kind of brush it off. The ref he let him vent the first time, but when Jamar came back for seconds, and Tony Romo kind of called it out himself in the broadcast booth, the flag.
But if the ref disrespects you like that, it's his job to be the. Oh man, the ref cannot be bigger than the game.
But you can't be bigger than a game either, and that's
he's the one getting paid to play the game. He's the center stage.
He's getting paid to play the game, Douglas. But also when we went from a 3rd and 5 to a 3rd and 15. Doug, you're paid to win the game. You're paid to win the game, Doug, and you got to be a professional.
So here's what you're saying. Okay, I understand not liking the penalty in the time and place, but I also think that as the umpire of the game, you have to have thicker skin than that. These are grown men playing the most physical game in the United States. He did go back for a second round. He did. But if the referee tells me to go fuck myself, I'm probably going to come back and say something else to him.
But Doug, I'm going to save it for the post game. I'm going to save it for the podium.
All right. Because you're trying to get the next call though. You're trying to get that referee to look at the next call. That
drive damn near into the game. You're trying to get the game. It was third. At that point, he had 2 back-to-back receptions. Yeah. Jamar Chase was heating up. Joe Burrow's connection with him was heating up. We got the offense to 3rd and 5, and
Okay. So time and place. Time and place.
And hats off to and I'm an emotional player, so
yeah. I'm confused because here's the thing.
I would have done, but but if I'm being paid millions now in a junior college level in high school, yeah, I probably would have said something. But at the same time, you're playing the biggest game of the year, in my opinion, was this game. We had this game circled all year long.
Yeah.
And this is the Chiefs. You started 1-0. You were kind of an embarrassment against the Patriots. The best thing you could have done as a professional on this level, Doug, would have been go back and make that 3rd and 5 play, then say something later.
That's fine. That's fine.
And like I said, I get why he did it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to criticize why he did it, but game situational,
time and place.
Situational awareness has got to kick in at some point, and you got to be like, man, we got to go win this fucking ball game, because at that point it was a war. I mean, it was a war to the end.
But I also think part of his emotion was because he wanted to win the ball game, and he's upset because he thought he got the hip tackle or whatever he thought the penalty was. Let's move on. We both. I think we both. And quick shout out to Bearded Browns podcast. We love those guys. One of the best one of the best Cleveland Browns podcasts going. Jordan and these guys have a smoldering rivalry. And then quick shout out to Tyler McGurk. While the Bengals played good offensively, they seem to have lost their explosiveness. When you lose a good player like T. Higgins, you're probably not going to be as explosive, right? You can't take the top off as easily.
But I disagree with that, because
make an extra point.
Yeah, we're getting that. We're getting to that. Fuck the 7th inning. Fuck BSN right now. But we're getting to that. Shots fired 110%. We're getting there. And before we get to the bad, Douglas, I want to give Zach Taylor's first ever career, the first time I thought he grew a fucking backbone, and I texted you during the play, 4th and goal. We go for it. We get it. Yoshi, big shout out to Yoshi. It didn't pop out on the stat line like hundreds of yards, but 2 touchdowns on, 3 catches, 2 touchdowns, pay dirt when we fucking needed it. Absolutely, one hell of a game for the sophomore, second year guy. Douglas, he stepped up again. All these young receivers stepped up when they had to. Burton made the big play. Yoshi made the big plays when they had to. So, I was really happy to see these young guys fill those big shoes that T. Higgins left out on the field. And
the Vulgar Monday. It really is.
Yeah, I'm just getting into it. We knew it was going to be an emotional episode.
It was going to be a big one. We knew.
I'm actually a lot cooler today than if we would have went live yesterday.
Oh no, we weren't going to do that.
Our show would have probably got canceled. Doug had to keep me on a leash. It was rough. It was rough.
Okay. Let's get this out of the way, Jordan. Yoshi played well. Those 2 touchdowns were really nice, and that's when I thought Joe Burrow was really starting to get going. And it just it is what it is, Jordan. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to lead you up into it, and then we're going to have a conversation about it. I want you to try to stay level-headed about it. Just listen for a sec. We're going to pull up your positives and your negatives in a second. Okay. Your defense is battling. You're battling. It just, and I don't know what everybody seems to feel the same way about this. For whatever reason, if you get the Chiefs in a bad situation, it just always feels like a flag comes out to save it somehow. No matter what it is, it just feels like a flag goes their way. And a lot of the time when you play the Chiefs, it feels like you lose to more than the Chiefs for whatever reason. A close game. You guys are fighting your tails off. It is a back and forth battle. These guys don't need more help. Like, this team is good enough by itself, and it just feels like there's always a penalty. Let's talk about the penalty now, Jordan. The pass interference call. Let me talk, and then you can go off if you need to.
Yeah, you're good.
It was pass interference. He got there early. You were very upset in the moment, and I respect that because you want to win more than anything else, and I totally understand that. That's what your passion you bring to this pot, or you bring to this show, is your passion. But he got there early. He did hit the receiver early. If that same thing happens to a Bengals receiver, you want that call. Answer me that question.
Yeah, I feel like the shoes on.
If Jamar Chase, to save the game, gets his back ran into before the ball gets there, you want that call.
Of course.
Now, what I don't like, and quick shout out to the Bengalian, he posted a lot of this, and I know he was kind of crashing out. Totally respect that. It was a rough loss for you guys. He posts the incredibly obvious hold to set up Mahomes even getting that ball downfield to set up the penalty. That was egregiously bad hold that set up even you guys being in the bad position to have a pass interference. It was a mugging down here. It was a mugging. We compound the pass interference by not calling the obvious hold. And you guys in that process get absolutely screwed. In the moment when it's full speed, I totally understand you saying, "What the fuck just happened?" It's 4th down, 15 to go. Yeah, dude, that's the most emotional point in the football game. I get why you were so upset. But when you look at it in slow motion, when you get to kind of calm down, he ran through his back. It was boom, boom. It was boom, boom. Chiefs, like Darren just said, I know you were up, Darren, we love you. Jordan just, we're a little emotional here on a Monday. And then the Chiefs make you pay by kicking the game-winning field goal. I don't know why they always get the whistle, but they always get the whistle when they need it the most. And it really hurts. It's happened to a lot of teams. It's happened to you guys a couple times. It's happened to It's happened to
most famously the Jets last year.
It's happened a lot of times. It just goes the Chiefs' way. Okay, I put a lot on you, Jordan. You've had time to calm down. You've had your 24 hours.
Yeah.
You told me that if that happened to Jamar Chase, you would like it called. Rebuttal, please.
Okay. Let me start by pointing the compass here, Douglas, at the organization. If we don't miss the extra point, that's an overtime game. I don't know if we win, but it's an overtime game. If Joe Burrow doesn't make the fumble that led to the scoop and score,
man, that was rough.
Because all momentum was our way until that point, because we had him on the ropes. It was the late round, in Rocky IV. We had him on the ropes. We cut the Russian. We were about to chop him down. Douglas,
man, that was rough.
The Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm probably going to be persecuted for this, beat themselves. If you don't play mistake-free football against the Chiefs and you let it go into the ref's hands, you will lose that game. This is after 24 hours of pondering and being pissed and questioning it. If you take those two mistakes out of the game, Douglas, the Bengals probably win.
Yeah.
So we let the Bengals let the game go into the ref's hands on a 4th and 16 call. Now, in the moment, it looked like it was a bang play to me before it slowed down, because the ball bounced off of the defender's helmet and went off to where Von Bell was standing. So I didn't think it was catchable. That's the one element to the call that I didn't agree with, because most of the time with pass interference, the catchability of the ball is usually, it's a factor in it. Not always, because sometimes they call it the ball sails out of bounds and people get the pass interference call. It happens at the back of the end zone all the time. So I'm aware of that. But to me, it wasn't catchable. So, you know what, Douglas? It was the right call, but I wouldn't have made it, because that's just that's the game. I don't know if as a referee if I would have thrown the flag. Regardless of my
but you wanted that call for your team. You would want that same call. That's the problem with that logic.
And I would, and that's why I can't argue against the call right now. Coach Fresh, I swear to God, he rides me. He rides me. I love the man to death. But Douglas, it was the right call, and it was the organization's fault for missing the extra point and giving up the soup and score. We wouldn't have left it in the ref's hands. So it was the correct call. I'm probably going to get prosecuted for this, but the refs did miss a holding call several times on Trey Hendrickson. When you're getting ringed around the fucking neck, that needs to be called, because Trey Hendrickson was a beast.
He played his ass off, man.
He played his ass off.
That dude's phenomenal to watch play football.
Only 2 sacks. If we don't unload the Brinks truck to keep him in Cincinnati, it'll be a crime. And if he winds up in Cleveland, if he winds up in Cleveland, Douglas, I will not be a Bengals fan next year. This will be a Cleveland Browns show. It's just it is what it is. But Douglas, we move on. We got a game Monday night against the struggling Redskins. Whatever they're called now, the Washington Commanders team. So we're gonna rebound. So I'm confident this team has their swagger back. And I just before we wrap it up, I'll let you put the graphics up. I want to bitch about the run game some, but it was the right call, Douglas. I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna bury it like that.
I think you handled this well, honestly. I honestly do, because yesterday, if you read your tweets, from our account, they were very vulgar. They were very rough. They were a little bent out of shape. They were a little illogical, to be fair. You were upset, and I totally understand that. Today, we've had some time to rethink it. Yeah. The Monday night score, 9-7 right now, Falcons. Quick shout out to the Bearded Browns podcast, obviously.
Did Kirk Cousins throw the touchdown?
I'm not sure. I'll double check for you while I throw up the graphic. Since we did I
got a fantasy win riding on it. So.
We obviously didn't mean to do that. Did that fix it? Nope. Give me a second, gang. Share screen. Window. There it is. Sorry. Okay, Jordan, hit it. Explain to us your positives and your negatives.
All right. Well, just like I've touched on, I won't harp on it. The secondary.
Wait, let me. Darren's quick support for you guys. Bengals, even with the loss, the Chiefs won't want any part of the Bengals in a playoff game. There you go, Jordan. Because
and I believe that, because if they get, with the way this offense is evolving, tell Jordan to turn. It won't turn sideways. The camera won't adjust. You've said that several times, and this is the reason why it stays this way. But we fight on. We fight on. I tried a laptop, and it led to 2 of our worst episodes, brought to you by Spectrum, that we've ever had. So we don't jinx the show. We keep it rolling. But back to my positive negatives. The secondary, Douglas, it looked a lot cleaner. DJ Turner, like I said, even he had the interception that was called back. Cam Taylor-Britt played great. Absolutely. The secondary, Stone had good plays. Von Bell had good plays. The linebacking core, when they were told to drop back into coverage, did great in the zone defense. Young players, absolutely. Whether it was Burton, whether it was our rookie tight end, those guys were all over the field making some great plays. Brown, our running back, needs more, needs more reps, needs more carries. That's a separate conversation for another day. The 3 takeaways against Patrick Mahomes, absolutely great. Punching the ball out, intercepting the ball. But the negatives, Douglas, the run defense is still abysmal. It's still questionable. Yeah. We don't have a 3 technique defensive tackle. Our second round pick hasn't even touched the field yet. BJ Hill is going to be out for the foreseeable future as of today. They're still evaluating Rankins. So not great. Right side, Douglas.
Trent Brown sucks, man. Let's talk about it.
Been the biggest letdown of our free agency this year. And you and I kind of, we kind of raised an eyebrow. Early in the preseason, Doug, he was kind of a cut candidate because he was on the inactive, and he wasn't active for a lot of camp, and a lot of people thought he was going to be cut. And then our first round Mims, when he had the pectoral injury, we kind of got forced to keep Brown. And
it sounded like Mims was going to start, did it not? It kind of sounded like Mims could be the starter, and then he tears the pec, like we said.
Yeah. Mims is going to be the starter, and Brown was just going to come in for run packages and extra tackles. But now he's forced to be in a starter, and Douglas, they attacked him all day.
Oh, he got his ass kicked all night.
He got his ass kicked 2 weeks in a row. The Patriots kicked his ass. He admitted that on open mic. He said that was the worst game of his career. This one was definitely, both sacks were accredited to Trent Brown. So that, nothing you really want to see. O-line depth, it's just, we're kind of in a Brown situation right now. We didn't address the issue. It's going to be a continuing problem. Defensive tackle depth, Doug. I don't know. I put up the bat signal for Geno Atkins to come back. Still waiting on a reply from Mr. Atkins and company. Maybe he'll come back, maybe he won't. But they got to sign somebody, Douglas. Realistically, because you can't go into Monday night with Zach Carter being the only starting defensive tackle on the right side of the ball.
For sure.
This is a huge issue moving forward just through the year. So hopefully they'll get that figured out. Because damn, Doug, we're struggling. We're struggling on defensive tackle depth. I've never seen anything like it where we're just kind of burned through. Losing DJ Reader to free agency was one thing, but to have Cam Sample go out on a defensive end, in a preseason, then turn around and one guy, our third round draft pick from 2 years ago decided to retire at age 25 right before the season starts. Then Rankins getting hurt, BJ Hill hurt now.
You guys gotta get on the phone. You guys gotta get on the phone. You gotta get the phones going. You gotta get somebody in here who can help. Somebody with some experience, maybe, to get in here and get some help. Jordan, you guys have the Monday night game against Washington. We we have we'll be playing at 1:00. The Giants come to town. It'll be on Fox, so we'll get to watch that one. Bearded Browns, now they're on the X account. Love those guys spreading the love. But we've got the Giants coming in. We're going to break down both games and what we predict Thursday night. We're not going to overwhelm you guys. We've already gone 45 minutes. Jordan, let's transition real quick. Let's touch on the Reds. Let's touch around Ohio, and then we're going to get out of here for the night. Ohio State's back this week. We'll also talk about the Ohio State game this coming weekend on Thursday. Yes. But yeah, Jordan, I mean, we've got another big week of games. You can't let up. We've got 2 more must-win games this weekend for us, So, where is trying to talk to us about the tie, the Columbus Crew versus Cincinnati, the tie game, and we got the point, the Cincinnati versus Columbus Crew game.
Yeah, that game officially put FC Cincinnati into the MLS playoff bracket. So we will have a postseason, Douglas. So we can, we're not going to get first place in the East like we were chasing early on. But we were there. We made the postseason. The tie, if you look at the game statistically, Douglas, it was about even across the board. I know FC Cincinnati got them on the corner kicks. Got them a little bit on time of possession. I believe we had about the ball for about 8 to 9 minutes longer. But Doug, this looks like a game of 2 teams that, were pretty damn even. Yeah. They both struggled to find the back of the net, but defensively, I mean, that's it in the soccer world and football terms for the rest of the world. Doug, that was a battle of 2 giants, and they really put it on display. We didn't get it in the scoring realm, but, defensively, and you saw a lot of chess pieces and substitutions, and these guys look like they're 2 teams really locked and loaded, ready for the playoffs. And, if we do draw the short straw in the second round to get Columbus, Doug, that's going to be a thriller because, the playoffs, there's no ties. So they're going to make these guys play to a win. So, I'm really excited moving forward. I'm happy these guys, lock in a playoff. Maybe we can rest some starters. If we're thinking just longevity about being happy to be in, get these guys healthy, get these guys going again, and see where the postseason takes us. So I was really happy to see FC Cincinnati, get the overall point, get in, and secure their postseason spot.
Definitely. Like you said, it was a really close game. Statistics, they pan out just like you said. You'd like to get that win, but you don't lose any ground. You still get the point. 2 shots on goal. They had 3 shots on goal. 12 shot attempts to 8 shot attempts. They led in shot attempts. We had more fouls, more yellow cards. They beat us in corner kicks. We had more saves. It was a tight game. We had the possession 50% of the time to 49 for them. It was a hell of a match. 2 very talented teams. That'd be a great matchup in the playoffs of the second round if possible. I'm excited. The FC Cincinnati back at it on Wednesday night against Minnesota. That's a game they need to win to get for the points to keep the standings as they are. So big weekend, Jordan, or big week. I mean, in terms of soccer. And then let's talk about our lovable Reds. They're still battling their asses off, Jordan. They have not given up yet. They've been a little bit more fun to watch, in my opinion, now that the pressure's off. What are your thoughts?
No, they've been more fun to see Ellie get that grand slam the other night.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just kind of, putting on that final artwork to his season, Doug. He's trying to get better at the RBIs, trying to get his RBI, his batting average up. I know he went 1 for 4 that game, but that was the one hit that mattered. It put 4 RBIs into his category. So really happy to see him kind of, move forward, get his game more complete. And this is just a continuing roster evaluation at my point. Obviously, Ellie's in the plans. Pay the man, just pay the man.
Right.
God damn, just pay the man. We it's been cursing all night long, so why not just add more to it here? Just pay Ellie. Make him the center foundation of the block here for young talent moving forward. It might even bring in some, that one free agent that we need in the outfield so desperately. They're like, okay, hey, we signed Ellie Deli Cruz for the long term. Let's bring somebody, bring a veteran in on a 4 to 5 year deal. Just complete the circle. It just makes sense to me, Doug. But the Reds don't play ball that way when it comes to the front office. So,
no, unfortunately they don't.
But I'm glad to see the young pitchers continuing to get experience, Doug. We're making the right call-ups, we're making the right moves. Like you said, they're battling their asses off. Happy to see them, and we'll just kind of put the flag up and see what next year holds us when we see a healthy roster.
Yep, definitely. They start a series with the Braves tomorrow night. And
that's a team we've owned. We've owned.
They played well against the Braves, so we'll see how it goes. Jordan, we've had 175 live viewers tonight. Thank you to everybody who stopped in tonight. Thank you to everybody in the comments section. Darren, the Bearded Browns, Tyler McGurk, all you guys, Coach Fresh, everybody who stopped in tonight and talked with us. Elite Tweet Center, we love those guys. Those guys are great wrestling marks. It's been a fun show tonight, Jordan. We got to hammer home the Browns and the Bengals, really get into it and really break it down on Thursday, where we are live once again, 9:15. We will be breaking down the Browns versus the Giants, and then we'll be talking Monday night, where you guys will play you guys will play Washington. So a big show on Thursday. Excited to be back with you, buddy. A lot going on. This has been Ohio Sports Talk. I'm your host, Doug. That's the coach, Jordan Maxson. See you guys live Thursday night at 9:15.